I have read and listened to almost 350 books on self-development. My initial motivation was to increase my income. In the end, I even managed to surpass this plan. These books have changed my life, and I'm sure they will help you too. In this video, we have collected 10 of the most valuable tips. Tip number 1. Don't live below your means, but look for ways to increase them. Robert Kiyosaki, in his book Second Chance, offers an important principle. Instead of cutting costs, think about how to increase your income. This contradicts the traditional advice of financial analysts, who recommend saving on everything. A typical tip is to give up dinner at a restaurant or other pleasant trifle. But why limit yourself? Instead, ask yourself the question, how can I afford this? Or, what should I do to recoup this purchase? A life devoid of pleasure becomes dull. No one wakes up with joy from the thought, what else would you save? It kills motivation. Instead, focus on additional earning opportunities. That's why it's important. Cost reduction has a limit. You can't cut absolutely everything. A person's main resources is time and energy. My friend records all expenses in Excel and is ready to go to the other side of the city for a discount. He can spend hours arguing with cashiers over an incorrectly punched check. But if he had spent that time on work, for example, web design, which he is good at, he would have earned much more. Tip number 2. What's the worst that can happen? Dale Carnegie, in the book How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, suggests asking this question to get rid of fear. Although the book is not about finance, its ideas are great for business and investment. Many people worry about money. Is it worth investing in this project? And if he fails? What happens if I can't pay off the loan? When fear grips you, ask yourself the question, what is the worst-case scenario? Usually, reality is not as frightening as it seems. Remember, fear often exaggerates the scale of the problem. Stay tuned and we'll explore even more useful ideas. Calm down the inner alarmist. Sometimes our worries seem to take over, causing us to panic and lose control. To cope with this, you need to be able to calm the inner alarmist. Here is a step-by-step method. Accept this scenario. Imagine that the worst has already happened. Accept this as a fact. Take action. Switch your attention from worrying to solving the problem. Think about what you can do right now. Tip number 3. The concept of non-refundable costs. We overestimate the resources already invested, money, time, effort, and devalue possible losses in the future. As a result, we get hung up on past experiences. Tip number 4. The difference between an asset and a liability. The book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is probably familiar to many. She often finds herself on lists of financial literacy recommendations. One of the most memorable ideas for me was the distinction between assets and liabilities. An asset is something that brings money into your pocket. A liability is something that pulls money out of it. It's a simple principle, but it's not so easy to implement it into everyday life. Rich Dad argued that becoming rich is simple. You just need to acquire more assets. After reading it, I started asking myself the question before each purchase. Is this an asset or a liability? My first asset was real estate, which brought a small but stable income of 5,000 rubles per month. At the same time, I started developing my YouTube channel and monetizing it. After a while, one of my successful videos began to bring in the same amount. Then I thought about the concept of digital real estate, assets that can be monetized on the internet. For comparison, the purchase of real estate cost about 1,000,000 rubles and took several months. The creation of the video cost 15 to 20,000 and brought a similar income, and the process brought me pleasure. Since then, I have started to expand my digital assets, more videos, more channels, translations into other languages. This approach allowed me not only to increase my income, but also to enjoy my work. Tip number 5. Don't rely on willpower, automate finances. A few years ago, I issued a credit card. The conditions were simple. If you pay on time, there is no interest. But if you delay the payment, expect fines. The manager offered two options. Free, make payments manually through the app. Paid, automatic debiting of funds for 300 rubles per month. The manager recommended the first option, assuring that it would not be difficult to press a couple of buttons. I agreed. However, in 6 months, I twice forgot to pay the debt on time, and each time it cost me 3,000 rubles in fines. Neither notifications nor calendar reminders helped. Then I enabled automatic debiting. Yes, the service cost 300 rubles per month, but it saved me from unnecessary stress and costs. I've always remembered this lesson. Don't overload yourself with little things that can be automated. Automation of not only finances, but also any routine processes allows you to free up the brain for really important things. You stay aware of the situation, but do not participate in it manually, saving time and energy. Having regretted a small amount, I lost more. Since then, I've been trying to automate everything possible to focus on what's really important. Tip number 6. The price of success. Success has no price tag, but there is always a price. Many people dream of big incomes, a business to their liking, and an ideal life. But are they ready to pay for it? To succeed, you will have to sacrifice a lot. These are years of practice, constant learning, and overcoming mistakes. We are not taught entrepreneurship at school or university. Parents can rarely tell you anything either. As a result, when we take the first steps, we face difficulties and, perhaps, even suffer defeats. Tip number 7. Get rich from a young age. Imagine an elderly couple on vacation. Instead of walking, they are napping on the beach. This suggests the idea. Why save money to enjoy it in old age when you no longer have the strength? Many books advise saving small amounts and investing for decades to come. After 40 years, you can become a millionaire. But what is the point of this money? For treatment? For expensive walkers? I want to enjoy life now, not at 70. I want to travel, drive a cool car while I have the strength and desire. Of course, it's not easy. But if you invest your efforts in business now, in the future, you will be able to relax more, and others will earn for you. This sounds much more optimistic than waiting 40 years for your savings. Youth is not a time for saving, but for growth. Use it to build a life that you can enjoy today. Tip number 7. About long-term investing and different paths to wealth. Yes, not everyone can create a business. Someone is not ready for sacrifices, and someone is comfortable being an employee without incurring additional responsibility. For such people, long-term investments are a great option. It is important to understand that this approach takes time. It will bear fruit, but in the distant future. So, it all depends on your goals. Do you want to get rich fast? DeMarco's advice will suit you. Are you ready to work for a long time? Then accumulate capital through compound interest. Tip number 8. Think big. At university, I had a classmate who always urged everyone to be realistic. As soon as someone shared a dream or made grandiose plans, he immediately returned them to earth. For example, when someone dreamed of studying in the USA, he said, "You can't even say hello in English. Where are you going?" He did not believe in his own abilities and believed that he would remain poor forever. This guy was reliable and kind, but his narrow mindset robbed him of the chance for great achievements. Unfortunately, we are taught from childhood to think small. Parents and teachers often do not encourage imagination, but only require the completion of tasks. But only large-scale thinking opens the way to grandiose achievements. Thinking big means not only setting ambitious goals, but also acting. You pretend to be successful until you become one. The changes will start with your behavior, and then the results will catch up. Most people think that you need to succeed first and then behave like a successful person. But the opposite is true. First, you have to become the person you want to be, and only after that success will begin to come into your life. I've learned two important lessons about how to think big. First, big goals are easier to achieve than small ones. When you set yourself an ambitious task, you have to involve other people, ask for help. The knowledge and experience of specialists facilitate the path to success. But to complete a small task, all responsibility falls only on you, and you are limited by your own strength and knowledge. Teamwork and support significantly increase your chances of success. Secondly, big goals aren't really that big. If you break them down into stages, you will see a clear plan of action. In the same way, you can look at the problems. They are not as scary as they seem at first glance. The main thing is to think big. Money is worth a life. We sell our lives for money. Money is our life energy. This awareness helps me to reconsider my spending. Now I ask myself the question, is this purchase of my energy worth it? I'm starting to see the price of things not in dollars, but in the hours and weeks of my life. Create your luck. Very often you can hear that successful people are just lucky. But there is a lot of work behind every success. For example, if you and I want to buy an investment property, and I go around 10 properties, and you go around 100, which one of us will be luckier? Of course you are, but this is not an accident. It is the result of efforts. The more you work, the more chances you have of success. It's okay to fail. Sometimes it is failure and difficulties that lead to success. From the outside, it may seem that you were just lucky, but you know how much effort was behind it. You create your luck. Bonus tip. When I started reading books about self-development, my goal was to make money. But over time, I realized that money is just an addition. If you work 15 hours a day, your health will start to fail soon. Then you will start playing sports, but this is not enough. You also need to improve your sleep, nutrition, and create harmony within yourself. Work is not everything. If you don't want to burn out, it's important to take care of your body and soul. You can't work without rest, eat fast food, and expect everything to be fine. With time comes the realization that you need to change not only your inner state, but also the outside world. You will begin to put things in order not only in your life, but also in the space around you. Less junk, more freedom to think. At some point, you will feel that something is wrong, and this will be the moment when the transformation begins. You will start meditating, working with emotions. Everything that seems strange will now become a part of your life. You will learn how to let go of negativity, get rid of excess. Your behavior and even your appearance will begin to change. Over time, you will become more confident in yourself, stop hiding in baggy clothes, and begin to show your individuality. You will become a person who is not afraid of change and accepts yourself. When you reach your goal, you will notice how much you have changed. There was a lot of useful information in this video. I hope it helped you become a little better. Thank you for your attention and for watching.